This is Mira Business FM. I'm Tim Elliott, and we're looking back at the Futurist X Summit 2025, which was held at the Jumeirah Beach Hotel here in Dubai this week. Now, next, it's time to hear from a hacker turned inventor who now leads, as he calls it, an invention capital firm, Deep Future, where he is implementing science fiction. His words, he has a book out at the moment, same name, Deep Future, which is really kind of all about the mindset, the tools, and the reasons to create technology that matters. And he is a fascinating character. Mira Business FM, my name's Tim Elliott. I'm here at the Futurist X Summit at the Jumeirah Beach Hotel, and Pablos Holman is with me. He is a hacker turned inventor. That's according to your book. Pablos, nice to meet you.
Thanks, nice to be met.
Look, you lead an entity, I guess is the best way to call it, called Deep Future. It's also the name of your book. I have to start with the hacking because I'm kind of enthralled by that. But just give us a quick, who is Pablos Holman?
Well, I grew up in Alaska, and I got one of the first computers that you could have at home, and one of the first computers Apple ever made.
Right.
And nobody for like 1,000 miles in any direction had ever seen a computer.
Right.
And so I had to learn everything about it the hard way. And so my early career was all computer hacking, and that's really just a sort of learning style, I would say. You know, hackers learn by breaking things into a lot of little pieces and then figuring out what you can build from that. And so now I'm trying to hack everything but computers. Okay, so
can we talk about your hacking career?
Sure.
Should we just gloss over that? Or?
Well, I think, you know, in those days, especially once we started putting people on the internet, in the 90s, things were wildly insecure, and we were trying to, both show people that it was wildly insecure and figure out how to fix it. And so there were a lot of hacking antics in those days, and a lot of people know me from that. But
okay, so benevolent, not malevolent at heart. That's probably the way to go. That's a little bit about your background, some of the hacking stories. Tell me about Deep Future, because I know that this is let me just see if I can get this right. This is an invention capital firm. Would that be the right way to put it?
That's how I put it, because we really just invest in new inventions and the inventors who are creating them. Okay. And these are new technologies that we think can help solve big problems or make something that humans rely on a lot better. Faster, cheaper, cleaner, or more humane, things like that.
Okay, so what kinds of things have you been looking at recently? I mean, we're sat literally, if the camera could swing over that way, I guess it probably could, but we're looking at an AI toothbrush. Yeah. I asked the question, what's that for? But if you can look at where you may have a cavity and AI can help you there, that's better than going when it's an emergency. So I guess this kind of event inspires you in that way.
So an event like this is a great chance to meet other people who are building all different kinds of things. I like that. The AI toothbrush is cool because it's a better toothbrush. It's called Luma Brush, and it's a way to, not have to go to the doctor to find out that you have a problem, or a dentist rather. Yeah. And that's a pretty cool thing. It's not what we would do. We're looking for, real 10x multipliers. Could we find a technology that might, keep your teeth from going bad in the first place? That might be interesting. Or is there technology we could use to replace teeth more easily or grow teeth in a lab, something like that? We haven't done those kinds of things, but we're doing a lot of other technologies that are sort of ambitious in their scale.
You obviously took to computers at a young age, hacking, writing code, I guess. That requires a particular mindset. You're now, I guess, a futurist as much as you are somebody that supports invention of technology. What is it about you and the way you think that led you in that direction, do you think? Because that's not most people, is it?
So if you got a new gadget and showed it to your mom, she might ask you, well, what does this do? And you can explain, it's a phone, Mom, iPhone, says on the box.
Sure.
But if you get a new gadget and you give it to a hacker, the question is different. The question is, what can I make this do? And they're going to take it apart, break it into a lot of little pieces, figure out what you can build from that's not in the directions. Nobody ever invented a new technology by reading the directions. hackers are the people violating the warranty before they got the shrink wrap off. And they just have brains that are attracted to puzzles, and computer security is a bottomless pit of puzzles. But what I'm trying to do is get the hackers, use their minds to aim them at solving bigger problems. Like, what if we could find a way to, make some 100-year-old industry better?
How much are you breaking through, do you think? Because, I mean, there is potentially, and I get that it's illegal, but there is money in hacking, and when there's money, I mean, you know where I'm going.
Yeah, so, American hackers, you could say, as an example, they mostly have a six-figure job configuring firewalls or making, securing computers somewhere. But I don't think they're all living up to their real potential. We need them to help us figure out, how are we going to solve energy? How are you going to feed 8 billion people? How are you going to make clean water for the people who don't have it in the world? How are you going to, really scale up on our ambition and create the kinds of technologies that Silicon Valley has been ignoring?
Do you find that, and I'm guessing here, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, and tell me if I'm wrong, but when you were hacking, taking things apart, trying to rewire, rework things, there was a buzz to that. Do you get that same buzz with the way you think now and the approach you take now?
I feel like I'm doing the same thing. And so, yes, I'm just lit up. We have a team that's working on taking solar farms, which suffer from two big problems: clouds and nighttime. They take the solar farm and they launch it into space on a rocket.
Right.
A solar farm in space will get sun 24 hours a day. What? It looks like nighttime because we have a bad angle on it, but it's actually noon in space all the time. So if you put a solar panel in space, it'll get 8 times as much energy, and that it can beam that energy down to Earth using radio waves. And that is a way to make solar into a baseload energy source that doesn't need batteries, doesn't need transmission lines, and we can beam that energy to the poles if you want, or the middle of Africa. So something like that, to me, sounds a little crazy to people, sounds like science fiction, sounds non-intuitive, but the truth is we have all the technologies to do that. And so we have a company working on doing that, and it's going to be one of the most amazing things because it's a super cheap way to get clean energy to anywhere on Earth.
How far away are we, honestly, from the science fiction of everything you've just said to science fact?
I think so. That's an idea that first showed up in science fiction in the 60s. And we'll deploy the first commercial array in the next 4 years.
4 years?
Yes.
Before 2030?
Yep, that's right.
Okay, which leads me to the next obvious question. What else are you working on that you can tell me about, that you're as excited about?
Yeah. Oh, there's so many. We have a company that's working on making cargo ships that are autonomous, so they can drive themselves across an ocean with no crew, but they're also sailing. So there's no fuel. They're just wind powered.
Okay.
The shipping industry burns half of the money they make as fuel, and we don't have a fuel cost. So that's not even very high tech. It's not hard to imagine. You take a cargo ship and duct tape a Tesla to the front of it. It's self-driving. There's not even much to hit out there. It's easier than it's self-driving around roads. One documented pedestrian ever. So this is the kind of thing where you got to ask yourself, that's a $2 trillion industry, and we're just burning the nastiest bunker oil you can get to move Happy Meal toys around the planet. So I think we could do much better. So that's one that I think is imminent, very important. Probably the shipping industry isn't going to get around to doing it, so we'll do it.
Okay. It sounds to me as though, this is slightly a stretch, but that's surely just common sense.
Yeah, what's a stretch?
Just the leap from deep tech, which is kind of, to me, what you represent, and I mean that as a compliment rather than I don't mean to detract. That's a logical approach, a sensible, logical approach to an issue.
That's a sensible way to do shipping. Sailing's been working for centuries. Why wouldn't we do that? So yeah, I think some of these things aren't actually that crazy, but you can't rely on, anybody working in the shipping industry started their career at like chapter 37. Anybody who was around at the beginning is long gone. And so it's not an industry you could expect to be full of innovative people. So, we have to take the people who are good at doing new things, and that tends to be folks who are in tech, in startups, and we need to use them to do the new things.
So it's a solution-driven approach that we need to be employing. We need more Captain Cooks and Christopher Columbuses, obviously, in the modern day. These are all things, obviously, in your mind. I'm aware that we're a little bit short on time, but I did want to mention your book, Deep Future, Creating Technology That Matters. You gave me a copy just now. Yeah. I'm not the world's best reader. I've just read the first chapter literally in minutes, so I have a feeling I'm going to finish it quickly. But tell me about your approach to writing and getting these ideas that bubble in your brain onto paper.
Well, a lot of the ideas in the book are not my ideas. There are stories about these technologies that are coming. Some of them we've invested in. Other ones we hope to. Other ones, other people have invested in. But these are things that we believe can help solve big problems. They can make some industries 10 times better, sometimes 100 times better, sometimes 1,000 times better. And that's really what's exciting, because if you read this book, you don't need a PhD to read it. It's a very accessible book, but it's about trying to share some of that inspiration so people could get excited about the things we see coming that can really help make the future more awesome.
Well, look, it's been fascinating to talk to you. Pablos Holman is a hacker turned inventor, and I guess, would it be fair to say Deep Future is your thing?
It's a venture capital fund, and that's the main thing I do, yes.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, of course.